Hi everyone, welcome back to Tech and Talk. So this is another episode of Shop Management System, and in last episode we tried to add data access layer inside our project, and we ended up adding a DB context class. So we called it stored management DB context, and it is extending from DB context class from entity framework. So let's clean that class up and remove extra commented code of lines. So this is required because this constructor is telling that this is a DB context because we are passing those options inside that DB context constructor from our DB context class. So this is the required implementation for accessing database using entity framework code first. Implementation, because though this is a very simple structure, because we haven't configured a lot of options here. Let me add a comment here. So all entities from database as db sets. So db set products is representing the product table inside our database. All right, and next thing would be, let's go back to our data services where we will be updating our product service today. For that, let's remove that implementations folder. It's not required. It was empty folder here, and we need to, I think there is a typo, or it should be product service. Let me correct that one as well. And yeah, now the point of creating separate services layer is that we just can change the whole way of accessing those records just to update our service layer, right? What I mean is, let me just remove those inline list of products, everything, and what we will do, we just update this product service class here, and we will be consuming our db context, which in our case is store management db context. So first of all, we need to inject that db context in that service. For that one, we will be creating a public product service constructor, and inside it we will be injecting store management db context on, let's name it db context. And for the reference point of view, we will be adding a private reference, private read only, store management db context, and it will be underscore db context, right? And here we will be doing underscore, the underscore db context is equal to db context, right? And here we will be doing for all products is equal to underscore db context. Now we are actually replacing the access logic from inline list of in-memory list of products to the database. Products dot to list, right? So now we are getting all those products from the database, and because we are not directly exposing those products models and we are not passing back to the controllers, we need to convert them to the product model. And why so, we'll explain that point later, but for now we need to convert them to the product models. All products dot select product model, and we need to convert that one to and name is equal to this way, and we need to make it to list, and we will be returning those product models from that method, and we will be doing same here. So we will be adding that model into, and before adding the model we need to convert it into the product entity. db context dot products dot add, and we need to convert into the new product id is equal to model dot id, and what next we can do, name is equal to model dot name, right? And as we know, in the case of entity framework, and whenever we do a change in the database, we need to make sure we are calling save changes method just to commit those changes into back into the database. And same will go for products.products.where, and we will be doing underscore db context dot products dot remove, and at the end underscore db context dot save changes, and that's it. Just we are changing in one place, everywhere it will be the same implementation. And now what will happen when we add the product or get the products, those will be getting or adding directly to the database, right? Let me just press Ctrl F5. All right, let's get to the products, and inside that products it's still getting us those lists. And why is that so? Let us double check. Okay, we need to double check that how we have configured. Yeah, so that is the issue. So we change the we remove that typo from the class name. Now that's fine. And one more thing, in case of entity framework, so from repository layer to the next upper layer, all those dependencies should be not singleton, should be scoped. And why? So that we know that the entity can will be moving from service layer to the database, and during that transition, even in service layer or db layer, the entity might get changed. So we want to track all those changes from different layer of those different layer of the project. So we need to make that one that dependency as scoped. Okay, let's again press Ctrl F5. All right, now you can see there is no list of products coming because now these are coming from the database. Let's add a new one, product one, create. All right, and let's keep refreshing, and if we go to the table, you can see that now we have product one in the database. And let's add another one with, let's name it product 2, and we should have now 2 products in the database, right? So this is how, but just by changing in one single place, we switch from inline mode to the database mode from data storage perspective. Okay, next one was the delete operation. It should be working fine as well. And if we go to the database to check, it's working fine. The edit one, I'm not sure it will work because we haven't done anything particular for the edit one, because previously that was inline a list, and we know that if we update any property in the object, it will get reflected in that list as well. So if we go back to the product controller and check the edit action, so you can see that in the edit post action, we are just getting list from the product, and we are just updating its name and returning back to the index action, right? That's why it's not reflecting those things in the database. So what we will do is we will be adding another edit method in our service layer here. For that one, first we need to define that method inside our iProduct service interface, and that would be public void update product model, right? And uh, in that product service, we will be implementing that one right there, and let's keep it there from to make the order of those methods consistent in both the interface and the service implementation class. Okay, next what we will do is we will be pulling products from the DB context, uh, not products, a single product, and we will be updating its name. So for that one, what we will do is say for entity is equal to underscore DB context or product first or default. If entity not equals to null, let's change it. Entity dot name is equal to model dot name, and at the end we need to do underscore DB context dot save changes, and that's all. Let's go back to the product controller, and here we will be calling the update method. And just simply let's return back to the index section. Okay, let's try to edit now, and if we edit now, we should be able to see those changes, right? And if I change it to something random and save it, you can see now it's getting updated. Same is reflected in the database, right? So this is how we just updating a single class. We switched from in memory to the database mode. Next point, that how we will be updating our database, right? So while development entities get updated, like currently we have only ID and name inside that product. Let's say we want to add description column as well, then what we will do for that case, We just simply need to update our product entity. So let's do that step by step so that you guys can understand how we will be managing those changes or updates for the database. Let's open the model, not model, the entity class we want to update in the database. So let's say this is the product and we now want that to include description as well, right? Okay, so for that one, what we will do, we have changed the model, and to detect that we need to add a migration in the project now, right? So for that one, what we will do, we will be opening our package manager console, and we will be executing update database command, and we need to specify from the top, we need to select the sm.data project where that context exists, the db context exists, and in the command line we need to pass startup project param, update that database, and we will provide startup project param, and it should be our web app, which is sm.web app, right? Let's I forgot, it should not be update database at that point, it should be add migration, apologies, add dash migration, and the space, the name of the migration, let's name it description added. You can see the build started, build succeeded, and a migration class added in our solution. And if you see in the up method, it's mentioned that a new description column has been added inside products table, and its type is nvarchar max, and it's not nullable, right? And the in down method we are dropping that column, right? Okay, and to apply that, now we need to do update database command, update it, right? And if you now refresh the table, you can see a description column has been added in the database. Okay, that was the first step where we need to update our database layer and our database entity inside solution. Next step is to update the business model as well. So let's go back to the data services, and inside data services and inside our sm.businesses models, we need to update our product model class. So here we also need to add the same description property. And now if we want to, and the third step is to access and update that description from the presentation layer. For that one, we will simply go to the presentation layer, and inside views and product and the index, first of all in the index we need to add another column in the table, which will be our description, model dot description, like this. And here we will be adding the another column to display the data. like this. This was for the view. For create, we need to add another form group section. This one is for name, and we will be adding another one for the description. And let's convert this one to the area. What we called it, area, like this. And the rows, I guess, input. Not sure how to do that, I just forgot it. Okay, let's keep it input for now. We will be updating that description part to the area on the HTML. Okay, now it's added for the add or create entity part. Now add one for the update form. Again, we will be adding another form group for the description and description. Makes sense. And let's go now back to the product controller, and we know that we have previously updated logic here. I don't think so there is any change required here. Remove unused references to keep all your code clean. Let's press Ctrl F5. Okay, now you can see description column is appearing here, although it's empty because previously we haven't added description for that entity. Let's edit it and add the description. This is a sample description. Press save. It's not coming. Okay, yeah, it's not coming. Why it's not coming? Because if you remember, in our service layer, the data service layer, we haven't mapped the description, right? So for that one we need to add description equals to x dot description. That's why automapper is important, right? In that case we don't need to add those properties explicitly if we already have configured automapper in our project. And of course, if the name of those properties are same in both the data model and the entities. Okay, now we are getting the description from the layer, and for the add one we again need to add description here. Model dot description. For the update one, it should be entity dot description is equal to model dot description as well. Dot description. Yeah, now it's fine. Okay, let's jump back to the product store. Let's edit it, give some description, click save. Now it's coming from the database. Isn't that awesome? And what if we want to create a new one? Description to, okay, that should be product 2. Product 2 and this is description, some random string. Okay, now it's working fine for both edit and add case, and delete was already working fine previously. And what about the search case? If I click KK and apply search, it's not appearing in the search, which means we need to update the search method as well. For that one, what we can do is we will be going to the product controller to see how it's working. So for the case of search, we are basically searching on the top of that fetched list of products, which is, I don't think so is a good way, because in that case we first need to get all the records from the database, and on top of that we will be applying those searches, which is not ideal. So to make that one more efficient, what we will do is we'll create a method, or maybe we can just update that one. Let's see, we'll see that part in refactoring, but for now let's add another one and name it search. Right, let's name it search. And in the service implementation side, where it goes, product services, we will be implementing a new method, right? And let's place it in at its required place, which will be after get all here. Okay, so it will be do all the same, it will be perform all the same logic, but before fetching from the database, it will apply the search conditions to that database. How we will apply? We will do products.where, and at that point we will need the same logic, the same link query that previously we applied to the inline list. Search.name.ruler somewhere like this one. And what we will be doing is we will be putting that logic here, and here we will have string search term, and that will be our search term, right? And we will be looking that one both into the name as well as into the description. We will be adding or description to lower stream, and that's all. Yeah, just to optimize that one a bit, what we can do is search term search term is equal to, let's trim it at once, and we will be using that one everywhere, right? It will, reduce some extra link complexity. Okay, sounds better. And inside that interface we need to pass a string search term here as well. Let's go back to the controller now, and we will be directly calling the search method here, right? Either it will be get all or the search method in case of search. right? And we now don't need that products list, uh, but we actually need that one. So okay, yeah, now that makes sense, right? Yeah, okay, so why we are assigning that one to null? I don't think so we need that, because both the paths are initializing those products reference, right? Okay, I think that's all from the search update perspective. Now the product should come directly by searching from the database. Let's give it a try and see how it works. Okay, products, and if now we search k, you can see we are getting that one. Even if we search, let's say, this part jdht, it should be working fine as well. And if we place a random string, we should not getting any results, right? Awesome. Now we have replaced all our actions and the data coming from those actions, and now it's pulling the data or communicating data with the database. That was all for today's tutorial. Hope you have enjoyed that one. In case of any question, queries, do ask in the comments, and keep watching Tech and Talk.